Guys, welcome to the show. Welcome to the after show. Welcome to the late show. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. Hey, um, it's been a very interesting week for me. I got to attend the grand opening of the Jaeger-LeCoultre boutique, the new boutique on Rodeo Drive. They always, of course, had their little spots a little bit, you know, out of the main lane, of course, out of sight, out of mind, kind of a deal, which more or less reflected the fate of the brand in this postmodern age for wristwatches. And I'm wondering now, with their move to Rodeo Drive, um, all the all the right boxes they have been checking with their leadership, um, the the way they started putting their watches on the wrists of celebrities. They have been riding on the wave, of course, of the cartoon or comics based cinematic universes, for sure, with Doctor Strange, especially the way they put that ultra thin perpetual calendar on his wrist, and the way they have been re energizing the Polaris line again, with Benedict Cumberbatch as their ambassador. I keep wondering. They came up also with, of course, the green Polaris. Um, hey, I think it's an interesting time. It's an exciting time for the brand. It's really lovely to see you all. By the way, GB Vul, one of the great supporters of this channel. Thank you so much. GB Vol says, last time I was on Rodeo, the Gucci store caught on fire. Hey, it's all Gucci now, as they used to say in New York City. I don't know if they still use this slang, but it's all Gucci now. That store is very nice, by the way. It's especially on the second floor. There are a lot of interesting things always. Houseware, some men's stuff, very classy women's dresses and accessories. Uh, a very nice store always. The one thing about Rodeo Drive, even as a window shopping experience, it's quite it's quite fun. It's an experience. It's the architecture of those stores, the layout, the window cases, the interiors. It's They have put a lot of thought into it, so it's nice to check them out. The Gucci store is great. The Prada is great. Goyard is fine. A lot of the watch boutiques that are on the main lane, on the main drag, Rodeo Drive, are really fun to visit. Uh, if only to just peek in and try on some stuff. And yeah, of course, the Hermes boutique there is always an experience. That's a fantastic place. Wristwatch holic Alex, my man, says also try to visit the Vacheron Constantin boutique when you have the chance. Yeah, look, I mean, I like a lot of Vacheron Constantin from early 2000s. That's the sweet spot in the secondary market, and I think it will continue to be for a while, because no matter how much the brand has gained ground, especially since the new generation, the overseas line has picked up, they have such quirky designs that are genuinely imprinted with their own character, like the Malt chronographs. from around the same time as the 50s, 70s that we were looking at just now. Patek's last generation of Lemania based caliber hand-wound chronographs, they'll always present a good deal. The Royal Eagle, if you're into that tonneau shaped case, we can bring some of these up if the audience wants it. I have already done a few videos on those, so I can just post the link on that. Dennis Aussie expat, hey man, my co-host. The link is pinned, by the way, so feel free to jump on the panel as always. If not, I'm gonna post the link again. Sirocco Sales, hello to you too. Again, the link is there, man. Feel free to jump on. Anybody, everybody is welcome. This is your home, so let's keep it up. Dennis K, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Thank you for upvoting and reminding everyone else. Corrado Galizia says, did you set it? Thank you for your contribution, by the way. Corrado has been a mainstay in the chat for this show, and he has been contributing consistently through PayPal, which I really appreciate. J617, south of Jefferson, it's Rodeo or Rodeo. It ain't my first rodeo. Yeah, it's so stuffy. Yeah, it's gotten worse, actually, GBVO. It's gotten worse. Like, they have basically used the pandemic, at least some of the brands have used the pandemic to make it a more exclusive shopping experience, with all these lines, perimeters set up in front of their storefront, and these rather artificial lines. The way they tether you to a sales associate when you come into the store. So it's gotten a little just it's taken the fun out of it a little bit. So unless I actually have a relationship with the store, I also rather just step into the stores that don't have those lines outside, to be honest. I usually don't want to waste time that way. And yes, that was my answer to this question. Not every store has a line outside. Sometimes they have those perimeters set up, those cordons sanitaires, as they say. But hey, it's how they want to do business. Not for me to dictate their terms, but we can always take our business elsewhere, and that's what I prefer to do. Sirocco says, if I jump on, I have to sit on the toilet so I don't piss my girlfriend. That's all right. Whatever you wish. Nothing good comes out of live streaming while you're sitting on the toilet. So you know what to do. Dennis K says, the only time I ever went to Rodeo 10 years ago, I bumped into some of the Kardashians. Yeah, you might have some celebrity sightings. I remember seeing John Voight, Angelina Jolie's father, at Earth Cafe in Beverly Hills not too long ago. I have seen the now canceled infamous Ron Jeremy with his crew, most of whom were wearing leather pants, men and women. Interesting crowd. I mean, Beverly Hills in general, I think, is an interesting place to people watch. So you don't even need to go on a shopping trip or a shopping spree. So yes, let's pull up some of those Vacherons, and I will just basically plug my own videos a little bit. Yeah, Very nice. YouTube gave me a very unflattering thumbnail already. I should always work on these before. But hey, we're trying to keep things professional. Let's see. Playlists. I think I have an entire playlist with other brands. So right, this is what I was talking about. Share screen. Right, these chronographs from this is a very clunky way. Sorry guys, I will just pull them up here. Yeah, something like this, for example. Right, it's literally a fraction of what the Patek 5070 costs. The movement has the same pedigree, same Lemania Bosch, right? This Mania CH27, the same Bosch that Omega's 321 is based on. Hey, Sirocco.
Lord, how's it going? I thought
Good.
We're all alone there. I just need, I'm going to just say, hang on a second, just for a second.
Of course, my friend.
Say
Go
hello,
ahead.
say hello, say hello. Hello, 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 hello. Can you hear?
Yes. Do I hear Mrs. Sirocco in the back?
That was Miss Sirocco. Yeah, yeah. Then she looked at me and put the finger up and said, "Go away, leave me alone."
Yeah, look, I mean, it's not. People keep saying that, you know, the Archie-Lectre live stream doesn't appeal to women, but I don't think that's the problem. You know, in general, I think they just want your time and attention. That's why.
Absolutely,
That's why they militate against it.
She does. She has actually spoken to Archie a couple of times. I'm back sitting in the toilet. I'm not sitting on the toilet. There's enough room. I've got this little office chair that I wheeled in because I nearly lost my beer. That nearly fell off the toilet. So I'm staying in. I'm in Chicago now.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, staying in a place called the Drake. The Drake. Apparently very historic hotel, which I didn't know. And surrounded by Louis Vuitton, Cartier, Bulgari, who else was there? There was Bremont I walked past, and all within 50 meters or 100 meters of where I'm staying.
Yeah, so you basically have a good view of the lake, possibly, right?
Oh, straight out the window, I see the lake. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and is the weather getting any better in Chicago these days?
We got here this morning at 9 a.m., 9:30 a.m. So I've been up since Chicago time. I've been up since 5 a.m. It's now 9:20. So we flew out of Cleveland this morning, and then it jumps back an hour. So so I'm here for 2 days, 2 nights. Tonight, tomorrow night, then I fly back to Australia on Tuesday.
All right. So does that mean we will see more of Sirocco on the Archie-Lectre live stream as well once you're back in Australia?
I think I'll jump into Archie's stream. I'm going to try and step back a little. I've stepped back a lot in the past few weeks. I'll certainly jump on occasionally, and maybe do the dungeon a little bit, and the escapement channel is coming back, I'm told, and I've
Okay.
been invited to join into that. And you know, they're all a good bunch of guys. You know, it's all a really weird fucking situation. I don't want drama.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I didn't understand what went on there, because the at least the first iteration didn't last very long. What happened there?
somehow my understanding. I heard one thing and we discussed things and wanted to go one way, but that was a minority, and actually not tell the truth. But the truth is, the channel was taken down. Someone with the open panel, someone came in and had nudity on the avatar, and no one noticed. And then I don't exactly know what happened after that. But then the stream was taken down and the channel was banned by YouTube for nudity. Yeah, and I have seen a copy of the email. And YouTube, they did appeal, and YouTube said, they basically said, oh, yes, we've taken into consideration your appeal, but blah, 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 nudity and blah, blah, blah won't be tolerated in this community, in this, whatever the word was. I forget exactly the word, the wording. But yeah, so it was a definite, it was a hit on the escapement channel. There's no doubt about it. So someone, you know, the blame is going to some people. Blaming, I've suspicions who instigated this thing. You know, what can you do? So it's been taken down, and there is a new escapement channel coming, and I don't understand the bullshit. I really don't understand the bullshit. It's YouTube. It's a free enterprise. It's a free do what you want to do. But there's people out there, you know.
You know, being the showrunner of a very small channel myself, who is on the path to 1,000 subscribers, and eventually, you know, with some help to get monetized, I can certainly see that, you know, that they're always disruptors, right? They're always interesting people dropping by in the background to the panel, and my panel is open too. But when I recognize certain names whom I don't trust, and I won't expose them or name them for better or worse, I just don't allow them onto the panel. And even when I've done, and they will continue to happen, but when I've done, for example, my morning everyday philosophy streams, which is, you know, it's not even competition for anyone else. Every day I have at least one or two people coming and just, you know, just questioning my character while I'm trying to work my way through a book. So it never ceases to amaze me how low that some can go in this particular space. And
I honestly find it utterly bizarre. I mean, look, your channel. I sit in the background, and occasionally I don't watch it a lot. I'll be fair, and you know, this is my second time on your. I've been onto your panel, and we've had a chat. But I have to give you the respect for your watch knowledge. You know, for anything else, you have this very in-depth knowledge about what you're talking about, and you have to respect that. And I don't understand someone out there. I don't know whether it's a channel owner or it's people who view these particular channels, who think they're doing the right thing by someone else's channel by trolling and doing this stuff. I find it utterly bizarre. Seriously, I do.
I think you have a point there, Sirocco, in the sense that I feel most of these attacks, which again I don't deem to be very significant in my case. I'm not really complaining about it, but they are, I think, so-called vigilante attacks. I don't think they actually originate from anywhere, but there are people with very weak and at times very strange minds who are inhabiting this YouTube space. And
Absolutely.
they feel like they need to take matters to their own hands. They feel very strongly about the fates of certain characters they only see on the screen, for better or worse,
Yes.
positively or negatively. So they want to take charge of the situation, and they do that in only ways they know how. But the problem that I have, and that's why I'm particularly sensitive to this, especially when it happens to other people, is when people send out addresses of others, claiming that they're doing some sort of public service, doxing others. Look,
Are we talking about the?
No, I'm
Let's
not.
just
I'm not gonna mention the name of this person because I don't want anyone to go to that
three
stage.
letters. The
Yeah,
three-letter word.
yeah.
Um,
So, what I want to say
I've
is,
got a little comment on that
okay,
particular
but
doxing.
can I finish
Absolutely,
after you say
absolutely,
your point?
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, it takes one person to take on this sort of vigilante action where they expose public addresses, you know, telephone numbers, social security numbers, etc.
Wow.
And then it takes only another very sick person who can take it to the next level and do something really stupid, and possibly violent. And if God forbid something like that happens, I cannot imagine the kind of place that the first person will find themselves in, uh, ethically and morally in the first place, but possibly also legally, having instigated um, a potential act of violence against a person.
Yeah, look, I'm entirely with you in what you're saying. Um, and in the old channel, which you and I were both a part of, I was I was very clear on the fact that if someone docks someone, you're gone, you're out, and it never actually happened with my view, but I know it did happen. There was one particular time, I can't remember who it was and why or whatever. Um, this particular case that you're talking about, I believe what's the word? The perceived victim has actually doxed himself. If you look, I've had a look at I've had a look at a link where this name is there for the world to see. So he's actually doxed himself. So I'm not defending anyone. I'm just putting this point out there that the doxing is you've done it yourself. Now someone's taken it. Yes, I agree. I think probably a bit too far, and this person's got a bit obsessed, shall we say? But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I kind of, look, I do understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think Captain Kirk has a very good read of the situation and a good
Yes.
suggestion. He says, frankly, this is not what this channel needs. This is an escape for watch knowledge and discussion. You should keep your persona split with Archie and this channel don't blend, in my opinion. Well, I mean, I wouldn't put it so starkly the way you put it at the end. I think, for me, there's no reason to you know, how should I say, have a split personality, so to speak. Compartmentalization is necessary, and I feel that I'm more of an actor on the Archie Luxury live stream when I try to join in the banter. That comes much less naturally to me than what I do in this channel, which is just to have focused discussion on watches. So
Yeah.
this comes, frankly, trust me, Captain Kirk, this comes to me much more naturally than trying to indulge in other aspects of the Archieverse.
I'll be honest with you, Lord. I really respect that out of you, because I do know your channel is you. It's just the way you come across when you're on your own channel. And as I said, I've sat back and listened, and you are talking. You want to talk about watches. You don't want the drama and the crap that goes along with Archie. And to be honest, I don't think Archie really wants all this drama anymore. I think he's found it's gone a bit too far. But when you get a channel like Escapement, which is only a couple of weeks old, and for some reason, and I don't want to go into the drama because you're not into the drama, but it was mentioned. I don't understand why suddenly someone's come out and attacked the Escapement channel, because they want to do exactly what you want to do, is talk watches and then maybe have a bit of a laugh and a giggle afterward. You know what I mean? And look, suddenly they got taken down.
Again, I think, people may have misunderstood some of the things that I said about specifically the Escapement channel on Archie Luxury livestream, which was like, why do we need to advertise it when it's basically an offshoot from the dungeon, right? That's the only thing I've said. Otherwise, I have no qualms whatsoever with even when, like you said, even when what we are doing is very similar.
Yep.
There's more than one way to slice the cake, so to speak.
Absolutely.
The way I'm talking about watches is not the same as Y2K talks about watches. It's not the same as Alexandros talks about watches. Alex, the watchmaker.
Yes.
Is not the same as others talk about watches, as Jamie talks about watches, as Uncle Jonga talks about watches, as you talk about watches. I mean, there are a lot of... Look, I mean, I think people really don't understand. I've said this the minute I was breaking off from that channel. I said, this should be, as it is, a community live stream. Take charge of the channel and do something about it, because the other guy is just interested in sitting back, not doing any of the work, not even the minimal work of moderating the discussion.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about now.
So at the end of the day, what I said was basically, hey, establish something like the Escapement show. So if people are doing that, I would be the last person to discourage. I would be the last person to do, much less do anything against it. So I hope it comes back in another iteration. And if something like that happens, it's very easy, actually. You shut the stream down immediately, delete it.
Yeah. They got closed down before they had the chance. Unfortunately, YouTube took it down. I don't think they. I think it was. And in fairness to the guys, I know who's involved, and we've had chats and a little bit of an experience, and I'm not a YouTuber by any means, but I did a dungeon show where we got super chatted to do something, and we got taken down by YouTube. We didn't get banned, but they took that particular show down. Didn't even know about it until, you know, reading the comments and going, "What's happened to you?" So the show, it just disappeared. And then that's when I realised that myself and Plastic were on at the time, and I did something wrong. That's okay. That time was fired up. This time was just a little bit more nasty.
Yeah. Captain Kirk says we all use Archie for banter, and it's important and can be fun and even enlightening. But this channel is a separate type of entity, is important, and not everyone has the talent to do it. I would be first to admit it, Captain Kirk. I'm not like, you know, I mean, you know this since I came into this space. I'm not an imitation of Archie. I never tried to copy anything that he does because I don't have the talent for it. And also I take it sometimes too far in terms of this analogy, but hey, he's the pontiff, you know. It's not it's kind of blasphemous to try to think of yourself in the same regard as Archie. So Archie does and gets away with certain things. That doesn't mean we can all somehow build our characters and channels around it. New B says, "Hi, I've been added to a VIP priority list for an Omega Silver Snoopy Award." Let's pull that up. Omega Silver Snoopy Award. That's amazing. Yeah.
George Varakis, hello. Good evening.
Well, that's hey, George. That's my answer, by the way, to Dirk Diggler. Dirk, so when I was joking around with the microphone, you know, I'm just getting used to being a YouTube celebrity. What happened in Costa Mesa was I was stepping out of one of the watch boutiques and someone says, "Lord," and I'm like, okay. You know, so now I get recognized. And like, you know, as much as it is a shtick, of course I'm you know, I'm a narcissist to a certain degree. So when someone addresses you Lord, you know, your chest puffs up automatically. And who do I see? It's our friend George Varghese. And
wow.
He was so nice to me, and we ended up eating lunch together. He treated me to lunch, and we went to Quattro Cafe, which is a nice little, really like I mean, it's not the kind of restaurant you expect to find in a mall. Let me say that it had more of a feeling of a like a small bistro of some sort, and it was really nice. The food was really good. They even had a whole vegan section, which I think is something that George actually chose very consciously and very kindly, I have to say. So yeah, that was really nice. That was really nice. And thank you, George, again. And thanks for being here.
It's great to meet people. I mean, you know, I don't even have a channel, and I've met Diego. I met Diego, had dinner with Diego. I went out with Mathis.
Mathis, the
for
legend.
a day. Yeah, he's a great guy, really wonderful family. Had an absolutely terrific time with him. And then in New York on Monday in Manhattan, Timepiece Fund.
Yes.
You know, and he's sitting in the AD. He said, you know, we'll catch up, and that was in the morning. And I said, yeah, fine, let's go. And he said he was in the AD. I'm standing outside the window, and he spotted me. I didn't know who he was. I knew I'd spoken to him, but I didn't know who he was and what he looked like. But he knew me, and he waved me in, and he shook me by the hand, and, you know, there's this handsome man. And then he's introducing me as a YouTube celebrity to the guys that are working in the AD. And I'm thinking, I'm not a YouTube celebrity. I'm just a guy that's appeared on a panel a couple of times.
Hey,
I don't have a
Sirocco,
channel.
if you say it enough, if you say it enough times, especially in this imaginary world of ours, it might well become a reality. So
I
let's
hope not.
can I take the liberty to rename you here? I will say YouTube celebrity Sirocco.
I just find it funny. I really do. Look, I first went on Archie's stream about back in 2019 for one time, one appearance, and then didn't go back until about, I think it was August, September last year.
Yeah.
And yeah, then all sorts of things have happened since then. But
do you want to take a look at this watch that Newbie got on the list for? He was also kind enough to say that I'm certain to have it in hand before the end of July, in time to show it on your 1,000 subscriber video. How
there you go.
Of you, Newbie. I hope you get it. I think this watch, to me, blue is my favorite color. You wouldn't be surprised. I think 90% of the time you see me on this screen with a blue shirt of some sort. And as much as it has been hyped up, I moved away from it. But when it comes to this watch, it has just the right amount of blue. Those sub-dials
It's a beautiful
are
watch.
amazing. The bezel and that strap, I think, which is like some like a sailcloth, like I don't know what Omega calls it in their universe, but this is of course a very exclusive piece, a very nice piece, aesthetically pleasing as well. And look, Speedmasters are maybe dime a dozen, but when you have the right one for you, much like the Reversos, it's just a very special watch. I would love something like this, or like a 321, again, a very VVIP list kind of watch. I would love one. I'd love one.
It's a beautiful looking watch, I have to say, and I'm not a chronograph person, but since I've started wearing glasses a little bit more full time, I can kind of, because I've always thought, if I've got to put my glasses on to see it, what's the point of having a watch? You know what I mean? Suddenly, in the past, month, bit over a month, I started wearing my glasses. I got a script, and they said, "Oh well, you need glasses for reading. Now you need glasses for driving a bit." So I've suddenly started.
George shares
this getting old is a real bitch.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, look, I sometimes joke around about it, and I'm a little bit serious though. A lot of these things that even our most complicated watches can do, it can be done better by other devices at this point in time. So it's not like we are really that fixated on certain functions. Sometimes we just like how it looks on the dial.
Yes.
Like the moon phase, for example. Yes, you might actually follow lunar cycles. Yes, you might I don't know, you might actually follow a lunar calendar, and more power to you. But at the end of the day, usually when it's well executed, it looks beautiful on the dial. And same thing with chronographs, right? When you have this sort of contrast, I think it just looks very nice. Just the right amount of blue and white on this dial, and it's
absolutely.
Really,
Listening to you just talking then, something I haven't thought about, and you're spot on. And hey, blue's my color as well. I got my Equaterra, which is blue. I've now got my Blue Z, and blue is definitely a color that sort of jumps out at me. So that is a good looking watch, I have to say. I can't argue.
George reminds us that we went to Quattro Cafe, really good food, highly recommended when visiting South Coast Plaza. my vote as well. Dennis K says, soon enough, you will be the celebrity people spot on Rodeo Drive. I don't think I can live on that kind of attention. As much as I'm an attention seeker, yeah, that would be my nightmare. Actually, I hope that doesn't happen anytime soon. Dirk Diggler says, I might give my left testicle for this watch. And Newbie says, apparently a few people pulled out as they have to pay upfront. Well, I'm glad you took charge of the situation. This will be a great addition to your collection, and I would love to take a closer look at it on the channel. And Dirk says, next time you're at South Coast Plaza, I will get you a few drinks on me. That's very generous of you, Dirk. I would say food, but it may be boring. Hey, man, for me, nothing is boring. Alex and I, when we got out of the Jaeger-LeCoultre opening, went to one of my favorite spots in Beverly Hills, and I just ordered a huge plate of French fries, which I shared with Alex, but I think he didn't get to touch more than 5 or 6 fries, and I ate the rest. Wasn't boring to me. But at least Alex was having proper food as well, so I didn't feel like he had to leave on an empty stomach. Sirocco, George says to you, I told the Panerai dealer that Lord was a YouTube celebrity as well, and her face lit up like a Christmas tree, and she showed him a lot of Panerai. Yeah, I think George, she was just happy to see 2 handsome men showing that much interest in her to begin with. But it was very kind of you to say that, and you made me blush. So Dirk says, man, you know, the Omega box and presentation is so creative and stunning compared to the boring green Rolex box.
You got that spot on. He has got that spot on. I mean, I got 5 bloody Rolex boxes and an Omega box, one Omega box, and that Omega box takes up the space of 2 Rolex boxes,
Yeah,
which I don't need, you know.
Yeah, the best, the most euphemistic way I can put it, it leaves a lot to be desired. It's very generic. It's always the same. Yep. And I know it, you know, these things mean something, right? It does reflect something about Rolex at this current point in time. They are very streamlined, very no nonsense, and they know they can sell their watches at any rate, that they don't have to make the extra effort. So it's yeah, it is what it is, and it is disappointing too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dirk says, yes, the Tudor is opening a boutique in that South Coast Plaza in Costa Mesa as well. You should go to the Tudor grand opening. I'll be there hoping to get that root beer GMT. Yeah, Tudor root beer GMT. I don't know when they're opening. Let me know, and I wanna pay another visit to the Lange boutique there quite soon, because I want to see some of their chronographs too, if they have a few on the store. I had to just focus on Lange 1 and the Odysseus on the last visit, since especially the titanium example was there, and I wasn't gonna see anything like that unless in a famous you know, in a meeting with a famous collector, because only 250 pieces and they're all spoken for at this point.
Wow.
But yeah, I would love to see an 1815 you know, two-hander, you know, flyback column wheel, or something like a datograph. Their chronographs are just a pleasure to behold, even the movements. But this root beer, I like it. I like it. I would, if I were to get it, I would probably get it on like their version of the nylon strap, the NATO strap. But I actually kind of like the bezel insert, you know, the color combination. even the font. Yeah, Tudor gets a lot of things right for someone who is into the vintage aesthetic.
I'm just the only thing about Tudor is I just don't like that hour hand.
Yeah.
That's
My
probably my biggest thing about it.
Look, my friend Eric L was here when these on this channel when these first came out, and there's too much snowflake for me, right? You know, I don't mind one or two accents, but the GMT hand is a snowflake, the second hand is a
Yep.
snowflake, the hour hand is a snowflake, and the crown is really big as well. I know it's like, you know, that's their product, that's their watch, that's how Tudors look like at this point in time. But it's a little too much for me, and they are too thick as well. Again, for me at least, I know some people like it as it's sportier, heftier. It has more wrist presence, perhaps. But yeah, I mean, it's not the perfect watch for me, but I can see how it has all that appeal.
No, I think if they just kept those hands plain, it'd
Mm.
be absolutely stunning. I think they just take it a little bit too far. But I guess that's the thing, because I think they're all the same. If I'm you know, all the Tudors have got the similar sort of hour hand, haven't they? With that, whatever you call it. Hey, I've never pretended to know anything about watches. Just what I like.
No, this is. I mean, it's true. At the end of the day, some of it is just the after effect of industrial production. You know, they have something. Um, you know, they have a certain kind of case. They have their in-house movements that they use across the board, and that's that. That's why the cases are thicker than when they were using the ETA movements. Um, and yeah, they're using the. I mean, the machining is set up a certain way, so that's why they're using the same cases over and over again, the same hands, so
Yeah.
on and so forth. But yeah, I like it. I like this on a leather strap on a NATO strap. Um, for me, since it's basically rolled gold on the center links for the bracelet, that makes it a deal breaker for me, anyways, for the bracelet. So I would
Yeah.
probably get it on a NATO and then get a nice leather strap myself if I were buying this watch. But it's a great option. I mean, look, especially if you can get a little bit of a discount, that would be great. But since it's a grand opening of a boutique, I'm not sure if they would be open to that.
Probably not. Yeah, probably not.
Watch fan says
Yeah.
upvote and subscribe. Thank you for reminding everyone. Watch fan, I appreciate you. Dirk says I was offered this watch in Hawaii, went back first thing next morning, and it was gone. Now looking back at it, I'm glad I didn't get it because I was able to get my date just from the AD a few weeks later. Congratulations, man. Wear it in good health. Dirk says I'm not rich like you.
There you go.
Um,
Who is Dirk? Who is?
I look, I mean, let's not spread these nasty rumors. What do you want me to do, Dirk? Cry about it every night on Archie's live stream so I can, you know, get Rolex at retail or something? Um, George Varghese says, not a huge Tudor fan. However, after seeing the BB Heritage Ceramic 41, I may purchase it. Looks really cool. Yeah, the listen, Tudor's ceramic and bronze watches have been a great hit, and they're not you can't really get them in the case. Um,
What do you think of? I'm just trying to think. What no, as you know, I keep repeating. I know nothing about watches. I was offered a Tudor Black Bay black. So the whole thing, it was on a bracelet. It was on a bracelet. Everything was black. And I
Well,
can't
I think it's
remember
this
the
one.
model.
Do you see the screen?
It could have been, yes, but it was actually on a black bracelet. That
It
looks
was
like
on a
it's on a
black.
NATO. It was on a bracelet as opposed to a strap. It was kind of nice. I can't remember how much he was after. That was when I was in the UK.
Let's see. I wonder if these. I think there was an option. I don't know if they still have it, but I think there was an option where they
Yeah, it
had.
wasn't new. It was a few years old. I remember. I could find it, but if I try to find it on the iPhone, I'd have to. I'd fall off this and get out.
Well,
Find the damn
let's
thing.
see. Maybe we can. I think it's not on the website anymore, so maybe the bracelet option is discontinued, but it
It
comes
was
with.
a nice looking watch. It really was. Everything black, with a black bracelet, the black case and everything. It really did look nice.
And were you offered it for how much? For how
I
much?
can't remember. I really can't. It was in pounds. I really don't know. I won't even guess.
Yeah. Because this one retails right under 5K. It comes with that hybrid leather rubber and the NATO strap. But the one
Yeah,
on
so
full bracelet.
I'm talking in pounds sterling. So, it really was no money.
And the one that's on the full bracelet in the secondary market, I'm trying to see, that's almost 6K. But hey, I mean, I like the aesthetics of this watch, honestly, not into the all black thing for the most part, but this I think this is the PVD. They have the ceramic now on the lineup, but I think the watch that you were offered is probably their version of the PVD coated, which is something like this, perhaps.
Yeah, it could have been something like that. Yeah, yeah, could have been. It was a nice looking watch. I remember thinking, wow.
Yeah. And they're asking for about $6,000 for
So $6,000 or about 5,000 sterling, I guess,
Dirk says,
roughly.
buy Archie his TV. Yeah, he's not gonna stop singing that Janis Joplin song. God damn it. I'll just calling myself Baron or Count or something like that, just to escape that. I mean, you can almost get 3 Tudors for 1 Rolex. And Dirk says that is nice. It's a great value watch. Decon, hey man, how are you doing? Else says Tudor has a black chronograph. Trading Laws says all the usual suspects are lurking here. Well, no need to lurk. Just jump on the panel and
Jump on.
let's talk
I
about
get
watch.
there are two trade. There's one trading loss and there's one trading. What's the other guy?
There's Trading Laws. There's Trading Profits,
Yeah.
who is based in the UK because he super chats in pound sterling. And
So
then
trading loss is Hong Kong.
yes, and then
Okay,
Bear,
we've chatted. He's been on the dungeon. Yeah,
yeah, and
he should
then
he should jump in.
Bear called the Timepiece Fund Trading Loss as well. So that adds to the confusion.
Yeah, Timepiece Fund is actually a really nice guy. He is actually super cool. Um, yeah, I had a good couple of hours with him last week. Really enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean they're both great. Timepiece Fund, again, I keep saying this. He was one of the people who consistently pushed the discussion forward and contributed in super chats when Archie was in London. So I'll always be
Okay.
grateful to him for that. Trading says profits is no relation. Yeah, I'm on dungeon sometimes. Tim the Chin says there's only one Tim the Chin. Yeah. By the way, how about them coys, huh? we won again. And
Yes, yeah.
Arsenal drops another point, and we might
I
be going to the
sat.
championship.
You. How about this? I was sitting on the plane this morning in Cleveland, watching on the BBC website the live commentary, the last 10 minutes of the game, watching the commentary, and that was the longest 10 minutes I've ever had, because I'm thinking they're telling me to turn the phone off, and I'm watching thinking, come on, it says it's 3 minutes. They haven't started the motor, they haven't pushed it back yet, and I'm sitting there going, come on, turn your phone off. 1 minute, 1 minute. Yeah, okay, 1 minute. And then they started to push the plane back so we could go out and taxi off and do whatever. And then I went, yes, we won. But fuck me dead. Why the hell is it Spurs, they beat Arsenal 3-0, thrashed them, and then they struggle with a 1-0 win over the bottom place team in the league? I mean, what are they doing? It's enough to turn a man grey.
Hey man, I mean, it's it is what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, it's 3 points is 3 points. If we drop the point right after, I think you would be absolutely right. But thankfully that didn't happen. And Burnley is like, I know they don't have Sean Dyche anymore, but they used to be one of the most dangerous teams.
Absolutely.
In the Premiership, so it's yeah.
It's just I sit there and I shake my head and go, come on, they have such potential, and yet I don't know what the hell it is that they just suddenly drop the ball. No pun intended. I'm hoping all we need now is for Arsenal to draw their next game.
Yes.
Lose will be better. And then we're through to the fourth. We're into the Champions League and got fourth place. And even better, if Spurs win and Chelsea lose the next, I think, I can't remember, we could even get third. I mean, that's a very remote possibility. Yeah. I haven't checked those tables.
Look, I mean, I think they just changed the format. I don't know if it goes into the effect next year already, but I think at any rate, the top four in the Premier League, I think qualify for the groups directly anyways. So
yes,
shouldn't be a problem. Shouldn't make a difference. George says either the Tudor or the Glashütte CQ Panorama Date Black Dial. The Black Dial I couldn't find on their website. Maybe, no, I should be able to. I don't know. But yeah, this is it. Yeah, I mean, except for the minute hand, I do like this watch. I know they tried to do something different, but, I can't militate against the big dates. I actually like that they have those big Arabic numerals. I think this is a nice sports watch, whatever color combination or bracelet or band it comes on.
So, there's certainly nothing wrong with it.
No, not at all. Let's see what they did. Dive into the original. Well, since they are called the Glashütte Original, they milk that tagline quite a bit, like for the originals or something. They constantly have that. I wish they showed a little more of the watch in this promotional thing. Okay, a little bit. Yeah. Turn it around. Show me the movement. I like Glashütte decorated movements, and I cannot lie. Yes, this is
You have to remember the way I see things, and every brand out there is not promoted for a collector. They're promoted for your normal, if you like, man on the street to go and buy. Collectors are a different breed again.
Of course, of course. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame them. Look, I was just
Yeah.
talking about whether Jaeger-LeCoultre can actually pump up the sales by adopting green for the dial color, and a color is really hyped and really in fashion
Oh, absolutely.
and when an iPhone in that color is released, and they have released an iPhone in green. That's kind of the cultural pulse, the spirit of the times, so to speak. Because I remember after Mac, across all of their product lines, released pink gold or rose gold as an option, for the MacBooks, for the iPhones, and everything else. Suddenly, there was a huge craze of men getting a lot of these products, and to the extent that since a lot of young men started buying these iPhones and MacBooks in pink gold and rose gold, they started calling it bros gold. So
There you go.
the green, having been adopted as an iPhone color now, is certainly the hype color of the season. And yeah, now they have a watch in green, and I hope it brings them some extra sales. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's not the watch for me, but I don't resent them for trying to find something different, trying to do something different for the brand.
Absolutely not, Mr. Sky Dweller. Thank you.
Yeah, he says,
Hello,
love the
love.
OG.
I don't know about the OG, but
Newbie says about the confusion of the names, Humble Pine and Pine Barren, add them to the mix. It's getting confusing for me. Mr. Skydweller says, love the show. Thanks for having me. Dirk Diggler says, it's the blood moon tonight, punters.
it is too. Yeah.
DP says,
Talking of which, I really should disappear and pay some attention to someone in the next room and get out of the toilet.
I understand. No worries.
But it's been good talking to you, Lord. Keep the show going. You're going to get to the 1,000 eventually. I know it's a long road.
Hey, make sure that all the folk know about the channel and subscribe.
Absolutely. Okay, mate. Good talking to you. We'll talk again.
Send my regards to Miss Sirocco as well.
Will do. Thanks, buddy. Cheers.
Big Meech is coming in with the sheep. Make room for the sheep. All right. DP says Glashütte Original underrated, referred unfairly as poor man's Lange. All because of one model. You're absolutely right, DP. I think, look, I'll be as fair as I can to both brands. I think their iteration of Lange 1 is a little too much. So they deserve the flack for that one watch. But when it comes to painting the entire brand with that brush, I think it's extremely unfair. I don't think there's anything else in their lineup that's trying to be something else. So it's only that one model, and let's show that, so people know what the reference is. I mean, I know sometimes people have even tried to defend this particular watch. I won't go down that road because I do think that it is a blatant copy. But um, when you look at the rest of their line, it's they have their own character. Uh, they have their own personality. They have their own design language, and it's not. Yeah, it doesn't deserve to be painted with that single brush and somehow presented as poor man's whatever. I just don't like that um that expression. It just, I don't know, it makes me feel a little uncomfortable. um because at the end of the day, these watches still cost a lot of money. And yeah, I just don't see what that's trying to say anyway. But yeah, in steel, these might seem uh interesting, right, as an alternative to Lange 1. But I think as a design, it's just not the same thing, and it really doesn't hit the same notes either. And when you move on to the precious metal versions, anyways, it's not a cheap watch by any means. So I really don't get what people are trying to say when they say it's the poor man's Lange. Um, but only the Pano series, Pano Reserve or Panomatic Luna, the which would be, I guess, an equivalent to Lange 1 Moon Phase. Um, Beyond those models, I think you can hardly find anything that tries to crib Lange 1's designs. And I'm not going to even get into um, that whole idea of, like, um, who actually owns the heritage of Glashütte, whether it's Lange und Söhne or Glashütte Original. Glashütte is a small town, but it's still large enough to sustain more than one brand. And I think both brands can take pride in that uh, heritage and lineage of watchmaking, um, from that small, very small German town that rivals now some of the Swiss giants who have been much more established as industrial giants in this postmodern era of watchmaking. Full on John says, "You down with LHV? Yeah, you know me. Yes, man. Welcome back to the channel." DP says, "Agree with you on Pano being a copy for sure." Big Meat says, "Yeah." Guys, we have just passed the 1 hour mark. Thank you again for being here. Thank you for your support and presence. I'm really grateful. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Like the video, upvote. Every vote counts. It really matters. It helps me gain a little more exposure, and that can't hurt as I'm trying to reach my first major goal of 1,000 subscribers and trying to get this channel monetized. But in the meantime, if you want to encourage me, if you want to help me produce more exclusive content, more original content, and I promise more videos are on their way. I was just waiting for my setup, and I was trying to get used to it. Next week, I'll be putting out a few more videos that are of a shorter span, that are perhaps more digestible, more bite-sized. So if you want to encourage me in doing that, if you want to help me out, if you want to support the channel, you can always consider already a PayPal contribution. And my address for that is lordhellespontv@gmail.com, lordhellespontv@gmail.com. And I have a Cash App as well, $LHVVV, $LHVVV. The cars in the background, of course, are, there's only one car. That's the Pontiff's BMW. He was nice enough to send me the postcard, and this is his Quattro of the Louis Vuitton president briefcases. So unfortunately, I had to settle with that, because he has a fifth one coming, and that's going to be completing his collection. One briefcase for every day of the week. So let's go back to those Vacheron Constantin chronographs, since we were picking up the threads fed off of manual wound chronographs from the so-called Holy Trinity. And of course, it's only understandable that Patek's 5070 or 5170, which has the in-house caliber rather than the Lemania-based caliber, has more appeal in the secondary market. It's a more classic design. It's kind of what comes to your mind, what springs to your mind when you think of classical, simplistic, well, simple if not simplistic design for a two-register chronograph. But I kind of like how bold this Vacheron Constantin is designed. The sword hands, the Arabic numbers, the the decoration of the dial, the talons of the Maltese eagle as the lugs that splay out. I think it's very beautiful. And the movement itself is, of course, a Geneva seal movement, Lemania based. Wait a second. Now I'm tripping myself up. Is there? I don't see a Geneva seal on this movement. Did I make that mistake? Jesus, it's not. Sorry about that. Yes, so the only thing that I can say at this point is that it is based on Lemania CH27, which forms the base of the same movement that powers the Patek 5070, and the Omega 321, the caliber that actually landed on the moon. Trading loss. How are you doing?
Sorry about that. I had to take care of some business.
No worries, man. How you been?
Busy, man. How's it going? Saw Sirocco here, I think.
Big Meech says COVID is trying to take the Meech out for the third time, but I refuse.
It won't take you out, Meech. Fuck that Rona.
Fight Corona. J617 says, when deciding, do you value In technological innovation or product finishing more? Basically, would you prefer a free sprung balance or hand finished components case? Thank you in advance.
Oh, here goes. Guess the sound. What is this one?
Seiko. No?
Damn, you're good, man.
Yeah, it's like, it's like kind of a little springy, right? You can almost hear that spring when
Has like a little
it clicks.
tin canny. How about this
I
one?
like it.
This one, I won't say what this one is.
One more, please. Is that Rolex contemporary?
That one I can't answer, man. I let a lot of people keep guessing.
Okay. All right.
But guess with the country though.
What country?
Yeah.
Japan again, perhaps?
No.
No. Okay. And that's it. So answering Jay's question, I think I would rather prefer hand finishing. As you know, I'm a vintage guy. As much as I'm impressed by technological innovations in movement making, as much as I sometimes adore, those advanced research type of pieces that Patek puts out, that Audemars Piguet develops, that Richard Mille puts out, whatever it is. I like looking at them. I like thinking about them. I like exploring them. I like learning about them. But deciding what I buy, I most certainly look for movement finishing. And of course, I mean, the case finishing is important too. Case, bracelet, movement. Newbie says, yes, Patek's iteration of CH2770 does have a Geneva seal, as does, if I'm not mistaken, every movement basically before 2009 for Patek, right? They should all be. Newbie, correct me if that's wrong. I think they moved away from Geneva Seal in 2009, right? And before that, I think all their movements were Geneva Seal. Trading Loss, Jay tells you need to record a soundtrack for your fights.
I don't fight, man. No need.
I don't fight. Very cool. Are you outside?
No, I'm at work.
Okay. I thought I heard some wind in the background.
Oh, we have some fans for some of the CPUs because they heat up. You got to keep them cool.
So what is your next watch purchase? What are you looking at these days?
Actually, not really. I mean, if the GMT comes, I'll take it, but I'm not really looking into watches given the current economic global situation.
So are you sitting it out? Are you waiting?
Yeah, I'm gonna wait.
Turn?
I'm gonna wait for everyone to get punished. Yeah.
So maybe by the end of the year.
So your watch decline that you just saw, that's nothing, man.
What is that?
More. The watch decline that everyone's harping about recently, that's nothing. It looks like it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
Relatively speaking, with some data I just saw, economic data I saw, it's looking bad. So,
Yeah. I
like the
mean,
consumer is starting to tighten up in terms of spending.
probably wise
Yeah,
for
and the cost of
all of us.
things. It's just there's gonna be a thing you call demand destruction. So people are not gonna want to overpay for food. People are not gonna want to overpay for luxury goods. Well, luxury goods probably the first thing that's gonna be disregarded. They'll be like, I want to make my own tuna sandwich. I'm not gonna pay no fucking $10 at what are they? Do they still have tuna in Subway? Yeah, Subway. Yeah. So we shall see.
Dirk says, "Wow, that's scary." Yeah, look, we have been saying this already. It's if we are if we start getting worried about the value of the watch market, the values of how the watches trade in the secondary market, we would probably have bigger worries to begin with.
Because a watch is not a necessary good.
Yeah, and the way I always looked at my watches is like, I take so much time to decide what to buy next, and I go through so many options and so many different variations of the theme, even when I choose. And I've never sold any of the watches that I've settled in that way. So for me, how watches trade in the market is really of a secondary or tertiary concern.
Yeah, because you probably get into them disregarding the value, and you probably get into them at decent prices anyway. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
for the idiots that are speculators and new
And
to the game.
look, I mean, I don't want to make any grand statements. You never know what life throws at you. So I might be put in a situation where I have to sell my watches, and then it would matter, of course.
Right.
But even then, like you said, since the watches that I bought, I got at the right moments for the right price, at least right price for me.
And for the right reasons, most likely.
Right. So it's not gonna hurt that
No.
much. I'm not gonna lose my shirt on it, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Like, for example, you sold XYZ watch because you got to, you know, sure, I got to plan out the budget for food for 6 months. Get it later. It's not going to
Cap-
hurt you.
Captain Kirk says, "Are we talking deflation?" Trading Loss responded, "Inflation, then demand destruction, then recession risk. I'm not worried about the watches. I'm worried about recession and inflation."
Yeah.
Dirk Ziegler
That's
says.
a high risk.
And Eld says, in uncertain economic times, the first expense to be cut is usually luxury goods like watches.
Hey, man, like you might see Steel Sports in the window. I remember
Uh,
when I was in LA like 5 years ago, the Gearys, they had Steel Sports in the window back in 2017.
oh yeah, I mean, look, 2017, they used to
16,
have
17, yeah. They had it all. I was
they
like, what do you
they
want?
used to have Steel Sports Patek in the cases at Tiffany.
Right?
So
No,
it's like,
yeah.
that's a
Right,
different
right.
different age almost.
That was
But
a
yeah,
different
you're
era,
right.
Yep.
But yes, look, here's what I'm gonna say. Of course, the watch market is going to um, price correct, so to speak. The prices are going to dip down, especially in the more hyped up models.
Hmm.
But I think the days where we can get Rolex Steel Sports at a discount are gone. You might see the odd model in the case, perhaps, but I think for a while they're not gonna let them go easily. I don't even know if we will ever return to those times, honestly, when it comes to Steel Sports Rolex. Do you really think that we would
Nah.
go back to the time where
I
you
think it would
can?
flatline, maybe close, may at worst close to retail, not at retail, because it's still Rolex.
Yeah.
Like worst case scenario, close to retail, 10, 20, 30% above, maybe.
Retail buys will be the biggest winners if they have to sell.
That is a fact.
Yeah, depends on the model, but I mean, still, look, even in these hard times, if you have disposable cash, if you're offered a Rolex at retail, of course you would get it still. I understand that.
Yeah, I mean, mark my words, in 6 months, the news, you're going to hear cash is king, cash is king, cash is king. Watch.
Hey, cash has always been king.
Yeah.
I've been saying this. Dirk Diggler says 2018, I saw white gold GMT Rolex in the window at NYC. And Jay says, I was trying to compare Rolex movements with their great technology versus Audemars Piguet and Vacheron Constantin that spend the majority of costs on hand finishing cases and bracelets. AP bracelet alone is 10 hours of hand polish. Look, I mean,
Steel wool.
again, are we, yeah, are we, if we are simply taking on an hypothetical, sure. I mean, I would take an AP Royal Oak over any Rolex Steel Sports, but they're basically unobtainable at this point. You can't get them at retail. You have to settle for one or two models that you really don't want until you can maybe get on the list for a third one that you might actually want. So it's like, for the average person who doesn't want to pay premium in the secondary market, who perhaps doesn't want to put that much money into a single watch, and who doesn't want to flip the watches that they get, it's just become a very strange game with Audemars Piguet, especially with Vacheron Constantin. I'm sure it's not much different, except the models that I'm interested in the current line of Vacheron Constantin probably are not the most demanded. Like I would like, for example, historique Corne de Vache in pink gold. I think they have them in pink gold. I would love a watch like that, and I'm sure that would still require weight, but I'm sure they don't play the games that Audemars Piguet is trying to play. But yeah, Rolex, relatively speaking, is still obtainable compared to Audemars Piguet. Joe Money, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to buy a stainless steel sub with no weight and no history in 2 years. Watches as speculative short-term investment will be over. Well, honestly, Joe, that's not bad news if you ask me. And
Money, you could get that sub in maybe less than a year.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope you get it as soon as you
just
desire.
Plan the birthday. Say your birthday's coming.
Datejust steel versus Royal Oak steel. Does AP really justify 5 times the money? I really don't know. No, I mean, it doesn't. It doesn't. But look, I mean, the 37 millimeter Royal Oaks in a relatively undesirable color, which is either the white dial or the gray dial, they might still be obtainable through boutiques. I'm sure they will still make you wait for at least a year, if not longer. And yeah, honestly, a modern date just doesn't strike my fancy. So for me, this is an unfair comparison. But if you said, for example, a no-date sub versus a 37 millimeter Royal Oak in steel, I would rather take the no-date sub, honestly, at the fraction of the price and probably with a more realistic wait time. Dirk says, all the people who flexed and bought from the gray market are crying now. Yeah, probably they're the most anxious ones too, and the most, the first ones who will try to get rid of their watches in panic. So they will lose the most. George Varghese, back in 2006, I purchased a GMT Pepsi for $38.50 with a large discount. In 2011, I purchased a Daytona with a 10% discount. 10% discount. In 2016, I purchased a Hulk at 10% off. I
This
suppose
is
a better
true.
question would be, do you think we will ever see Rolexes and APs stainless steel watches sell below retail? Um, it de-
No.
it depends which model, but
If it's horrible condition, like no bracelet.
no, it's not going to be. I don't think this is going to be the case in near future. And if it is going to be the case, trust me, we are going to hell in a handbasket. Again, the watches will not be our main worry. I think in short term, those days are not coming back. Maybe for the odd Rolex model that might be considered the quote unquote dog of the range at that given point in time, might dip below retail. Um, Same thing with APs. Look, there are APs that sell um, for a song still, if you look for the right model, and if it is something that you really like. One of those private sales that auction houses have, which are like online eBay like auctions. Once every so often, you can snag something at an unbelievable price, but that doesn't tell you anything about the market. It's just an anecdote. Trading loss. Go to the AD, dress nice, have a woman associate, tell them about your birthday, bonus, work anniversary coming, give 3 models: hard model, Daytona, realistic model, sub, DJ 41, Datejust 41 as a realistic alternative. That's a good plan. Say you are ready to buy and serious, visit once a month or twice a month. First, second visits, they will discard your info. Third and fourth, they will really keep it. Ask them if they remember what you wanted and make them write it down. And George says, correct me if I'm wrong, but historically, haven't new watches sold at discounts, including stainless steel and especially gold watches? You are not wrong. You are absolutely right. Since the secondary market was trending below and well below the retail prices at the time, it only made sense for ADs in that buyer's market to give some incentive to their customers to establish a relationship. The kind of desperation that's coming from people who are trying to establish relationships, trying to get on wait lists, that was how the ADs felt at that time. So especially gold watches, gold Rolex, you could get a significant discount.
At least tax
Yeah. I mean,
for sure.
10% would be the most reasonable thing to ask. And most,
Yeah,
look,
start
I
at
mean,
20. Be like, I saw that model in the window for the past month, and I'm gonna move it today. Drop the
Vacheron
card.
Constantin, the boutique on Rodeo Drive, was
Uh,
ready to give me a 5% discount on the overseas in 2017. So um,
it's not bad for
but
tax.
but that's that's not coming back anytime soon. I don't want to, just because the market is trending down, I don't want to give people the false hope. The only thing I will say, along with trading loss, is wait it out. Wait at least until the end of the year. Don't make any major purchases when it comes to watches, and you might just find the deal that you're looking for early 2023. After the fourth visit, they will remember you and talk about you when you visit at the fifth and onwards. Best case, try to talk to the store director, manager, since normal sales associates are a revolving door. Aussie expat says, my sales associate still doesn't remember what I asked for ever. Most of my watches were delivered the day I asked for it, including the Panda Daytona. Interesting.
Yeah, it depends. Your mileage may vary. All right, I think duty calls, as you can hear.
All right.
Here we go.
I understand.
I will catch you guys later tomorrow.
Of course, man. Of course. Take care. Thank you for dropping by.
Take care, ladies and gents.
Jay says it's just funny that modern Rolex movements offer real value with both free sprung balance and hacking seconds. The Geneva Seal brands like AP use a balance bridge, and Vacheron Constantin uses non-hacking. And Aussie expat says, see ya to trading loss. Guys, I'm going to drop the link again. I think I pinned it as well, but if you didn't see for whatever reason, feel free to jump on the panel. Because I'm due a toilet break. It's getting a little difficult. But Jay has a good point there, right? It's there is something to be said about the balance between watches that we consider to be robust and reliable, efficient, and as much as people complain about Rolex not necessarily living up to their heritage in so many other ways, in terms of the consistency and reliability of the product they produce, both from one watch to another, and in terms of the daily performance of that watch, I think that aspect of Rolex does live up to the tool watch heritage, and I think it's something to be cherished. And Rolex is very different to brands that produce less than 40, 60,000, or even less than 6,000 so I don't even know if it's a fair comparison, but at the end of the day, we were really trying to contemplate an individual decision, right? At the end of the day, it really comes down to what you value. For example, I've never cared about hacking seconds. I mean, who cares? A mechanical watch, manual or automatic, it's not going to offer the precision of the atomic clock. So who really cares whether you want to hack the seconds or not? Well, apparently some people do, and if you value that, obviously you'll go with a watch that actually offers you that option. I mean, same thing with my Seiko SKX, right? I know a lot of people used to complain about how they don't offer hacking seconds and how that's a shortcoming. I never really worried about it. So for me, it's always an easy choice. And look, I mean, as much as I study the movements, as much as I constantly expand my knowledge about the movement making and artistry that goes into producing what powers those watches, my priorities have always been aesthetic. They have always been visual. I was, up until this point, largely interested on the face of the watch, right? And that's why I never ever thought that there should be an exhibition case back on Rolexes, for example. Some people have been asking for this, right? But there's no reason, right? The only Rolex that had an exhibition case back was the Rolex Cellini Prince, and that had a purpose because they had beautiful hand-wound movements that basically replicated the way they were decorated on their face as well, right? Let's take a look, for example, on some of the models. Like the white gold is my favorite, really. So let's say share. Right, the way the dial is decorated, right, with these sun rays emanating from the hour and minute hand, you see on the back the movement is decorated in the same way. So there's a reason for that movement to have an exhibition case back. Or if you look at the yellow gold version that has a kind of a hobnail decoration on the dial that frames the hours and minutes and seconds sub-dial. And when you peek on the back, unfortunately, we don't really have a good picture, but you can see that the same hobnail decoration is on the movement as well. Or this white gold, right, with this circular guilloche decoration on the dial. And you peek at the movement, and it has the same. So there it makes sense, but otherwise I've never really went after something like that. George Varghese was talking to Trading Loss. Not so anymore. A friend of mine owns a Lambo dealership in Orange County. He tells me all the time, the guy wearing a suit never buys, and the guy who comes in flip-flops, shorts, always buys. Hey, man, it might well be true. I don't know what that reflects, but I am usually the guy in the suit, and I just nitpick so much, right? I hem and haw. I take so long to make the final decision on these sorts of big ticket items, no matter what they are. You know, if something costs more than $50, trust that I will budget for it. Trust that I will think about it, and the more that cost grows, the more my calculations grow exponentially. So I can certainly see that, but I also see the aspect of it where, you know, with the casualization of how people dress, especially in the United States, but really worldwide, globally at this point, people are much more interested in being leisurely. So it doesn't really say anything about what your net worth is, how you're dressed. You know, you might be in flip-flops and you know, wear a Daniel Wellington watch for all I care, and I'm sure you can still buy your Lambo, and more power to you. Thank you. I just approached it like a car, trying to compare engine versus bodywork. Well, you know, with the car, it might be a little different, but I guess for me, it would be the same as well. You know, I would be the kind of guy who drives a car and maybe adds in some ad libs to make it a little more exciting. You know, you won't catch me speeding anywhere anytime soon. Dirk says, "Have you lived in Europe?" I did. Yeah, I lived in Germany. I lived in France. I lived in Sweden. Some other parts of the world as well. Dirk says, because in Europe, most people dress up a bit to buy high dollar items. That might be it. It's, you know, sometimes people say talk about old world manners in the US. Maybe it's part of that. But honestly, people are also extremely judgy, right? So unless you are bringing them cold hard cash, or slapping your black card on the desk or something, they might still have all sorts of preconceived opinions about you. And it is what it is. And same thing comes also when you're wearing a suit or when you're put together, right? Remember that someone's girlfriend was trying to call the pontiff double glazing salesman because he was wearing a suit in that London watch show. So if people are going to be judgmental, they're going to be judgmental, and they will try to find, poke holes in your appearance in whatever way they can. Doesn't matter, whether you're wearing shorts or a sports jacket, matters little. If they want to chop you down to size, they're gonna find a way. And if you care, you are going to break. The most important thing when it comes to these sorts of social situations is to carry yourself with the dignity, trust, and confidence that you think you deserve. And the rest just comes naturally. The rest just comes with the standards you hold up for yourself. Aussie Expat says OCD, but yeah, it's no biggie. I missed this reference, but yeah. Newbie says calculating value for money is a skill. Guys, I'm gonna take a quick toilet break, so because I'm not gonna be able to concentrate on any discussion unless I take care of this very important matter. I'll be back with you after a short break. Aussie Expat says suits are for waiters. I love how one responds to that with judgment. I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, so what? Is there something wrong with waiting tables? I've done that kind of work. Mark the Shark says, couldn't even imagine considering being judged by my appearance. When I walk into a shop, I'm the one with effing money. They're the ones working. I think that's the right attitude, right? At the end of the day, they are supposed to woo you, right? They are supposed to impress you. They are supposed to convince you to part with your money. So I think that's the kind of confidence that I was trying to talk about. If who cares what you're wearing, as long as you feel comfortable in it, and as long as you are feeling comfortable in your own skin, which doesn't necessarily come naturally, right? Which is something that you may need to cultivate. But that's the important thing. Aussie Expat says, no, it's just a uniform. The new blue color is a suit. Well, I mean, you might say that the black shirt and black jeans is the suit uh, for the, or the uniform is for the billionaires or something. Who really cares? The new white collar is a polo, shorts, and flip flops. Yeah, it's just so incredibly generic to me. That I I love polo shirts, but I just get bored because they're so ubiquitous, right? I want to wear something a little different. And it's like it's the same way I chose to get a Polar Explorer 2 when people hated them. It's the same reason I chose a root beer GMT. It's just something different, and I prefer that. Newbie says, I have a naturally suspicious look about me. Don't know why. Yeah, I mean, me too. You have seen my face. So I'm always the kind of guy who gets randomly selected for a secondary inspection in the airport. So it is what it is. Captain Kirk says, do you know where the Lemania machinery ended up? I have no clue. Does Omega have it? I'm wondering why the 321 or 1861 are not used more in other watches. This is what I know. I don't know where Lemania's machinery ended up, but I know that Omega actually had to build the 321 from scratch entirely by examining a vintage watch with a 321 movement. So they built it from the ground up. And they have a particular workshop dedicated to the 321 watches. Whether they go to steel, white gold, or cases in other metals. So even within the Omega lineup, their use is always going to be limited, always going to be exclusive, always going to be limited by production, so to speak. Newbie says, I think it's the eyes. Yeah, look into my eyes. And Aussie Expat says, sure, yes, not commenting on you, just what different fashion telegraphs. Suits are not the buyers. I don't know. I really, again, I look at it the same way Mark the Shark looks at it. I'm usually not the buyer, I don't think that's news to me. I have never bought a watch at retail. I've never bought a watch new. So I guess I'm just proving your point, if only anecdotally. But when it comes to how I enter a lot of these stores, I'm really not worried about what I'm wearing because I'm wearing what I'm wearing every day. when I go outside. I don't really put myself together in a certain way just because I'm going into a boutique. Because to me, I always have to be comfortable in my own skin, anyways. So as long as that's fine, it doesn't matter what I'm wearing. I might be wearing one of those very tight pants with silly patches that people made a lot of fun of when my dating profile was getting discussed. Um, or I might be wearing a nice pair of dress trousers and a nice shirt. Who knows? Who knows? As long as I feel comfortable with it, I don't pay no mind. I think I will just return to Mark the Shark's comment and highlight that they are the ones who have it on them to convince you to part with your money. So you don't have to impress them; they have to impress you. Aussie Expat says, I'll ask my sales associate next time what he thinks. And Newbie says, nothing wrong with making an effort. Not buying a hot dog. I agree with that as well. I didn't mean to imply otherwise, Newbie. But when it comes to me, I always make an effort. So, I just can't wear the same things that I wear at home or in the gym or on the beach when I go out. So inevitably I make an effort. But if that doesn't come naturally to you, of course you should make an effort. I think that's a good point to keep as well. Yeah, what Newbie is saying, nothing wrong with making an effort. You're not buying a hot dog. And Mark the Shark says they are the ones that need to watch the clock during their lunch break. Ozzy says, I do wear my best polo when going to the strip. Make sure the Chuck Taylors are clean. Palway, my friend, how are you? He reminds you to upvote. Yes, guys, we're closing in to the second hour. I'm going to introduce the topic in a little bit for our last hour. But before then, let me remind you, if you have been enjoying the content, if you have been learning from it, please don't forget to upvote. Every vote counts. Hit that like button so I can gain more exposure, so I can continue making my way towards 1,000 subscribers to get this channel monetized. That's my first major goal. And I really appreciate your help, your support, and your presence while I am doing that. And in the meantime, if you want to encourage me, if you want to support the kind of new, original, and exclusive content that I've been creating, please consider making a PayPal contribution. And that is at lordhellespontv@gmail.com, lordhellespontv@gmail.com. I also have a Cash App, $LHVVV, $LHVVV. Aussie Expat says, I even bought some Lululemon pants. What are those? You'll have to enlighten me, Aussie. I don't know what they are. I mean, isn't that some sort of yoga-oriented brand for women? I'm not trying to be slick. I'm not trying to insult you by any means, but I don't even know if Lululemon has anything for men. So you'll have to tell me what they do. What they do actually have for men, I mean. Here's a conundrum for you guys. Speaking of sometimes aesthetic choices orienting our purchases for watches. What do you think about, pardon me, what do you think about the moon phase? Aussie Expat says, yes, hot girl brand LOL, their pants are comfy. And Mark the Shark says, Lulu is hot now. I think it's always been hot. I'm just not sure what they produce that Aussie Expat can wear on a daily basis. That's all I'm saying. And Aussie, once again, I love you, man. I'm not trying to be slick. I just don't know. I just thought they were producing hot yoga pants. So yes, what do we think about moon phases on watches? Do you think it adds anything for you visually, functionally? Are you ever willing to pay the upcharge for it? Do you think it's worth it? And what justifies that upcharge? Ah, Alan Gildo. Alan Gildo is, by the way, one of the regulars of the Discord channel that Aussie Expats set up. So, Aussie, please feel free to put the link in the chat. And it's nice to see him here. He says, I've only ever experienced the moon phase on a Casio, never mechanical. It's not a make or break complication for me. It's nice if it's included, if not, but not anything I'd specifically seek. And Aussie Expat says shooting star is better than a moon phase. For sure. For sure. I think when Madame Renier introduced the complication to us, I was altogether convinced. Captain Kirk has a really good point. He says the moon was one of man's first elements for measuring time. I like to be reminded of that. That's very cool. That's a very nice way to put it, whether we are following a lunar calendar now or not. And in a way, some of us might still be following a lunar calendar or a lunar cycle for a variety of reasons. You know, it might be for religious holidays, it might be for religious practice, it might be to synchronize our periods. But I think when it's executed well, it really is something to behold, right? When, for example, in the case of this Lange 1 with the moon phase in pink gold, you see how the moon is also executed in pink gold and how it has this bright blue sky for the day and the starry skies for with the midnight blue. I really do appreciate that. And when it comes to at least the current models, they have a white gold with black dial, which again allows the moon phase to really show. And they have done it very discreetly, and I think to preserve also the balance of the dial layout, which, as we have described, has this perfect isosceles triangle. They have just installed it right into that second subdial. I particularly like it in rose gold, quite honestly. That the one above is the 25th anniversary edition from 2019, so I'm not even sure if it's still available. Um, when you see here, this is the pink gold with the silver dial. You can see that the hands for the hours and minutes, as well as the power reserve hand, is loomed. Um, you have the oversized date, of course, as is the case with all Lange 1 models. You have that perfectly organized chaos on the face of the watch and a beautiful execution of the moon phase, which matches the metal of the case and also serves as a day night indicator. I quite like it in the pink gold, honestly. What do you guys think? Expat says, sure, cool. Let me grab one. Everyone is welcome. He's talking about the Discord link that he just posted. Love the chats and photos we share. Alan Gildo says, so on that complication, when the moon is centered, does it mean full moon? Yeah, it goes exactly through the cycles. So let me see if we can find a little video that won't get us canceled. Their own channel has a lot of um, videos, but if I directly do it from YouTube, uh, it might get us into some trouble. But let's see if they have a video on their website that explains this, illustrates this, I should say. In the meantime, this is, of course, the Lange one in pink gold without the moon phase, which just takes its place right here in the second subdial. And the upcharge is about 8,000. Of course, the difference is again that this just has the hours and minutes, the hours, minutes, seconds, and the power reserve hands executed in the same metal as the case. Whereas, of course, the moon phase version has the hour and minute hands as well as the power reserve hand filled with luminous material. I'm trying to find something on their website, but unfortunately, it's not. That's quite all right. Honey gold. Well, honey gold, um, as you know, Jay, is reserved for some of their limited editions, for better or worse. So um, I think when it comes to honey gold, they have just a handful of very exclusive models. But we can take a quick look at them and we can learn a little bit. This is basically a proprietary alloy that's quite specific to Lange. And this is how they explain it. While the wearer of a honey gold watch enjoys priceless benefits from it, the same watch poses immense challenges during manufacturing. Mm. Namely, the extraordinary hardness of the material makes it difficult to shape and finish, right? Which basically means to tell us that it's more durable. Honey gold is thus reserved for our most exclusive timepieces. And it says, harder than other gold alloys, unique in color and exclusive to Lange. Since 2010, some of our timepieces have featured this gold alloy, which is reminiscent of the sweet liquid produced by bees. The patented material, whose exact formula remains a secret of the manufacturer, is therefore more resistant to damage. While the wearer, okay, that's the same shtick. So yeah, it's about half a dozen watches, 7 rather. Um, and it's really like maybe a shade of yellow gold that's lighter on the eyes, honestly. That's easier on the eyes, I have to say. And it's very pleasant. You know, it has the kind of warmth that some of the best alloys of pink gold, to me at least, have. Um, I don't know. I think there's something that's very cool about the Lange in white metal, quite frankly. I think Lange won in white gold might just be the thing that the doctor ordered. Yeah, look at that. And that one actually has the loom in the hands. So that's even better. Introduced in 2016, the dial is crafted from solid silver and graced with solid gold appliques and hour markers. The hands are made of rhodiumed gold. The hour, minutes, and power reserve hands, as well as the hour and power reserve markers, are luminous. It's very good. Yeah, I don't know. I really like it. Aussie Expat says about the logo of the Discord group that it is a 5 digits 16750, a near miss that I tried to get. And J617 gives a thumbs up. Fight me dead. Hublot ripped them off with King Gold. Well, I mean, I don't know if they ripped them off. You know, at the end of the day, of course, every brand or family of brands or a conglomerate that has a foundry of their own has every right to try to mix things up themselves and come up with different things. That being said, I don't think they would have shared the recipe, special recipe of the manufactory, as they said. So yeah, I think it's just very cool in the white metal. That could be a cool collection, by the way. Just Lange und Söhne in white metal, with a stainless steel Odysseus as the crown jewel. Could be very nice. Right? You get a Lange one in white gold. You get a datograph up, down, beautiful column wheel, flyback chronograph, 2 registers, incredible movement, very sporty watch. By the way, I featured this on my Instagram just very recently. Apparently, Michael Jordan wore an earlier iteration of this watch on a Rice Bead style steel bracelet that comes with it. I think it's really cool. The goat wears a Lange or a Lange. It's very cool. But yes, so Lange one in white gold. A datograph up, down in platinum. What else are we getting? A Zeitwerk. Just a simple model. Humble. Unassuming. Digital display. White gold with black dial. I think this is a really cool one. And then finally, you get an Odysseus. And as nice as titanium is, and as beautifully decorated as it is, you can maybe get even both. Get one in white gold, one in stainless steel. And that's a wonderful 5-piece combo meal deal. Winner, chicken dinner. J617 says Odysseus in titanium and Dato in platinum. Yeah. I mean, you're right. Since we are dreaming, maybe we can go with that. As it is, Odysseus in titanium is actually one genuinely limited edition watch they produced in recent times. So there are only 250 examples, and there won't be any more. But yeah, why not? Since we are dreaming, that can be it. And datograph in platinum, why not? Winner, chicken dinner. And J617 says CB has a sick article of converting Dato with platinum bracelet. Who is CB? And what is it about converting daughter with platinum bracelet? Sorry, guys. With all due respect, I need to put something in my stomach as well. So that's me grabbing a bite. Ah, really? Okay. Mange, mange. MCM says Odysseus has a much more durable build quality than Nautilus or Royal Oak. Honestly, I don't doubt that. I really don't doubt that. Of course, the data you have for it will mostly be anecdotal at this point. After all, we are talking about two models of watches that have existed for, in one case, 50, in the other 46 years. So we know more or less where they stand, right? And I think there are, whatever category they're marketed as at this point, whether you are calling them steel sports luxury or luxury steel sports or sports chic or whatever else, they're really more or less, in the case of the Nautilus and the Royal Oak, a cross between a dress watch and a sports watch, namely an extra thin dress watch and a dynamic, water resistant sports watch. So at the end of the day, of course, they have aspects of them to them that are quite delicate if you treat them as an all in all sports watch. I mean, it's kind of like the difference between a SUV and a car that has a proper racing heritage, right? I think an Audemars Piguet Royal Oak and Patek Philippe Nautilus are more like sports utility vehicles, right? Uh, they're not racing cars, and they're also not pickup trucks. So you're not supposed to treat them like a pickup truck or a racing car, for that matter. So when it comes down to that, I think MCM, you have your finger on the pulse there. To me, from my anecdotal view, my way of examining the titanium and the white gold examples they had the other day, or yesterday rather, at the boutique. And let me just pull up that little video I had. Yeah, the Lange Odysseus, or Odysseus, struck me as almost indestructible. Now, that might be the particular way in which that grade 5 titanium is finished. And obviously, I had a much more closer look and a much more of an hands-on experience with the titanium, because the white gold example was simply sealed. But I can tell that it feels heftier than a jumbo extra thin Royal Oak or Patek Philippe Nautilus, whether we are talking about the original reference 3700, mid-sized 3800, or the most recent reference that has just been discontinued in 5711. MCM says, good explanation, good analogy. Thank you, guys. So is a Rolex a pickup truck? Yeah, why not? I think, there's a whole range of pickup trucks, of course, right? So I'm sure people who know more about pickup trucks than I do can tell me what would be the Rolex of pickup trucks and what would be the Tudor, so on and so forth. Maybe someone can help us expand the analogy in that way as well. But certainly that's what I had in mind, Ozzy, when I was talking about the pickup truck versus the sports utility vehicle. Mark the Shark says, I went to the Omega boutique today at South Coast Plaza. Yes, the cases were all full. They didn't have or didn't want to show us, when George and I were there yesterday, any of the new models. They put down my name on a wait list for the Green Diver. No commitment to buy, he said, and he also insisted, the sales associate that I was talking to also insisted that I had to put down my name if I actually wanted to see the watch. I don't know what he exactly meant. But I guess at least he wanted to imply that there is a lot of demand and that they are rolling out as they are coming into the store, which I don't necessarily doubt. IWC is remodeling, as is Omega. That's right. IWC, I passed by it, but I didn't go into it, unfortunately. Aussie Expat says Rolex would be Tundra Generation 1. Not there is, right. Joe Money says Tacoma Limited. This is for Rolex. Reliable and moderately luxurious. And Alan Gildo says Green Seamaster is dead sexy. And Mark the Shark. I've been on that list for months. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a watch worth being on a wait list for. And I think, they are not... I don't know if they're out and about already. And in what kind of numbers, honestly. So I don't necessarily blame those ADs for anything. Don't take me wrong. But I wish they had them already. Trying to find the green Polaris right at this moment would be great. I think that's also a nice watch. I think that's a nice watch as well. But yeah, the Green Seamaster I would love to see in person, even though Watch Advisor, I think, had a very good video where you could get a sense of the watch when he was trying it on and shooting. But it's never going to be the same as contemplating it in person, which is also a little different than seeing it out and about on your wrist in direct sunlight, or at least in natural light. Pardon me. Alan Gildo says 42 millimeters though, and wears like one as well. Aussie Expat says, is the Silver Snoopy in production? I know it's hard, but is it discontinued? I don't know if you were following it at the time, Aussie Expat, if you were here at the time, but Newbie just got into a VIP exclusive list where he had to pay in full, and he will probably be delivered the watch in late July. So maybe they're at the end of its production, but they're still being delivered, apparently. So hopefully Newbie will get it, and we will all vicariously enjoy it, because it's really a beautiful watch with the just right touch of blue. Mark the Shark says, by the time they call for the Green Seamaster, I'll probably pass. Got on the list as an impulse, not even an Omega guy. I think we are more or less in that same space, Mark the Shark. I have a lot of respect for the brand, and even a connection to the brand. But I don't really follow. I would like to have a special Seamaster, like I wouldn't mind that Silver Snoopy. I wouldn't mind the 321. But yeah, I'm not even an Omega guy. Aussie Expat says, how do I do that? If Newbie comes back, and if he is still here, maybe he can offer you an insight. But I think it was really a one of a kind situation, not one size fits all. He was talking about a list where there were a few people ahead of him, but they all backed off because they had to pay in full. So he had his shot, and he didn't miss. Aussie Expat says, I met a fantastic Omega AD last Thursday. Really hit it off, but I don't want to sound stupid asking for something unobtainable as a first purchase. Look, I mean, what's the worst that can happen? And honestly, I mean, not to Aussie, I think you are someone who has very solid social skills and competence, which is a very rare commodity, as you know, in this little world of ours. So I don't want to play down your relationship from, with this Omega AD. But at the end of the day, what's that relationship really worth unless you can ask for special things, right? Because for the run-of-the-mill Omega watch, you can ask discounts from authorized dealers, and you will be able to get at least the tax off, so to speak. So it's not. I don't think you would lose anything by asking for it. And if the answer is no, at least you can follow up by saying, like, do you have anything interesting that you can offer me? And you will have outed yourself as someone who is enthusiastic about the brand. If you know enough to identify a silver Snoopy, I think that person will know better what to offer you, even if they can't offer you this particular watch. So I don't think it's out of order for you to ask for what you might want. Awesome watch. Alan Gildo says that's the only blue watch you'll ever need. Beautiful. Alan, I don't know if you were here, but that's exactly what I said. Blue being my favorite color. I'm kind of exhausted by it, at least by its ubiquity and just exhaustion in the horological world. But I think this watch just has the right amount of blue. It's really beautiful. Mark the Shark says Omega has a much more attainable vibe. They practically beg you to buy the stuff. I don't want to be the guy on a second date asking for pegging and turning the lady off completely. Hey, Ozzy, the times have changed, my friend. These days, it's usually the first date. It's not. They don't wait until the third anymore. Aussie Expat says, fair enough. Silver Snoopy isn't Daytona with 500 guys asking every day. LOL. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry to be a little politically incorrect there, but hey, just an honest observation. The times have changed. The manners have slided down. They're on a downward slope, and neither man nor woman nor anyone else is really immune to that. It's not an exception to that. Yeah, and we were talking earlier about Omega at least making the effort of doing something with their presentation boxes. Right? It certainly beats the generic green box. But at this point in time, Rolex is not even trying, because they know they will sell that watch no matter what. So it's a little sad, but also, again, a sign of the times. Rolex is much more streamlined, much more industrialized, even robotic and cold in their approach. So that is quite confidently reflected in their presentation as well. Right? Certainly, you won't be getting in any King Midases in Grecian urns. So those days are over. Over. So yeah, guys, I mentioned before that it's only been a few days when we lost Jean-Jacques Fichter, who was for a long time the CEO of Blancpain and he was also the person who created the modern dive watch, which is to say the Blancpain 50 Fathoms, which is also to say an entire genre of watches that have brought so many different kinds of people and maybe the most diverse group of people into the hobby. So rest in peace, Jean-Jacques Fichter. He was truly, I think, a romantic man, quite a decent writer himself, as a historian, as a novelist, um, and a very interesting life trajectory as well. Cool guy, honestly. Rest in peace. And here is Robert Redford in All the President's Man with his 4-digit sub, the crown pulled out. I've been told that a lot of times the directors ask people to do that so they have a consistency from one scene to another, to make sure that the hands don't move around too much. And I was really happy to find this one, where you have Paul Newman wearing a white gold Daytona on a leather band, and as it happens, it has a similar engraving to his earlier Daytonas, but this time it actually reflects his age as well, and it says "Drive very slowly, Joanne." It's very cool. But yeah, certainly, I think those are the Daytonas that are the current vibe. Precious metal on a strap, or ideally oyster flex. This is from the same period of time, as it happens, 2008, when Federer was on his way of taking over the world and becoming the GOAT of his sport. And you have a white gold Daytona on a white gold bracelet with the so-called racing dial with the Arabic numerals and the red accents, a 116509. And this was actually an ad they used at that time. I think they got very good mileage, by the way, from Roger Federer. They're very lucky to have had a Swiss champion and one of the big three presenting their newest models and releases every time he won a Grand Slam. Aussie Expat says, if I get a silver Snoopy, I would have to get rid of the Moon watch, I think. First time I will have ever sold a watch. Yeah, I think if you have a special Speedmaster, it's only fair. It's only fair. I think one Speedy per collection is more than fair, unless you are really a chronograph freak, where you have to have different iterations of the same watch. And that's kind of the sign of a true collector as well, if you know what I mean, Aussie, right? That you don't care if the two watches have the same movement or a similar movement, as long as they have different aesthetics and different kinds of vibe. But it's up to you ultimately. I think Alan is not wrong. You can't have both. You'd have an internal struggle every time you reach for one. Continuity, yes, that's why the crown is usually pulled off in a lot of movies that feature mechanical watches. In Speed, Keanu's Casio watch was in alarm mode to display the tone they wanted. Alan Gildo says, "Did you see Dennis Hopper's Rolex?" I have not. I would assume that he has multiple, but I might be wrong. Oh, you mean the one in Speed? Apparently, it's a Pepsi. Let me pull that up. Let's see. Yeah, this is Dennis Hopper from Speed, and he's wearing a Pepsi on an oyster. Love that Arabic dial, the speed, the racing dial for the Daytona, but all done now. Well, it's not all done because there's always a secondary market. And honestly, these are already a good deal. And if you wait until the end of the year or maybe until early 2023, these might be exactly the watches to get. Precious metal Daytonas on a full bracelet with a racing dial that no one quite desires unless you actually love them like we do. This could be interesting. Speedy reduced for me, fits me like the BB58. Refuse to get rid of it, sentimental. That's the right attitude. If you love the watch, that's it. That's the only thing you need. Aussie Expat says Hopper's Rolex was a diver, but a white dial. While in Speed, he had apparently a Pepsi GMT. You can see the Cyclops there. You can see at least the red of the bezel, the oyster bracelet. That's what it looks like. You have a pre-ceramic Daytona with a white dial for Brad Pitt here. The King wears a big crown Submariner. Yeah. Yeah, I like variations on Daytona. Guys, we're in the last stretch. If you have been enjoying the show, please hit that like button, upvote. Every vote counts. Helps me gain exposure as I try to reach 1,000 subscribers. Help me push it forward. Help me get closer to monetization. But until then, if you want to contribute, if you want to encourage me to create more exclusive and original content, you can always consider a PayPal contribution at lordhellespontv@gmail.com, lordhellespontv@gmail.com. I also have a Cash App at $LHVVV, $LHVVV. Tony Soprano Special is, of course, beautiful watch. Smoking Joe Farmer wants one. And it's 30 date 36 with a champagne dial, most probably. That's what it looks like, at least. The Tony Soprano Special. Alan Gildo, if I ever get a solid gold watch, it's gonna be a Soprano Special date on a President bracelet. Yeah, I think date 36, in fact, on a solid bracelet. I don't know the exact reference number. This website says 118238. Any any day 36 should do, honestly. 4 digits are great deals still. 1803. They can be a pain to reset if you get bothered by something like that, because they don't have a quick set function. Not for the date, not for the day, but it is what it is, right? You gotta live accordingly. Wear it more often, so you don't have to reset it all the time. Um, Elon has a cool interview. That's rare. He has a lot of interviews. I've never seen a cool interview with Elon Musk, but let's see. He stopped wearing a Rolex before his SpaceX tag collab. There's a watch that came out of that SpaceX project. Hmm. I mean, if it's a tag, that makes a lot of sense in my mind. And if you know what I'm trying to say. But hey, I don't know. I just get bothered by this kind of idolization of CEOs and brand executives in our age. I think it's a very healthy time with growing skepticism towards politicians. I just see it a waste when that sort of unearned and unquestioned, unconditional um, adoration is somehow now displaced on these new type of innovator CEOs, the ideas people. Honestly, to me, most of these people are really glorified con men. Ah, St. Peter, I love you. Elon comes from a long line of hucksters. That's exactly what I was trying to say. Aussie Expat says, Blue Shepherd, it's all Hasselite moon watches to all the new astronauts. I still love the 90s Tag Heuer links. Hey, 90s Tag Heuer links have um, something or someone to recommend them, which is Ayrton Senna. Ayrton Senna used to wear a watch. I can get on board, but hey, I think he used to wear some version of the link. I remember this part with an integration of the leather bracelet, but what watch he was wearing, I have no clue actually. So if someone knows, please do write it in the chat. But yeah, I have some sympathy uh, towards tag watches because of the connection to Ayrton Senna. But beyond that, honestly, tag is very meh to me. I'd rather go with something like Oris at this point in time. Um, Other than their vintage reissues, it's really a brand that is of practically no interest to me. The vintage reissues of their chronographs, the Carreras, Monacos. Very cool. Altavia, of course, yes. That watch boy, hey, thanks for dropping by even at the very end, at the tail end of the live stream today. Aussie Expert says, agree on Elon. I like him having fun. Business wise, he's a liar. I just doubled my money betting the Twitter deal would fall through. Mark the Shark says, I tried on a Monaco today. It's chunky. It's a chunky monkey. That's why Mike the Snake loves it. Jay says, well said. I just like Elon's gravitas. Not many CEOs do the whole sleep on the floor gig, even if it is all for show. Hey, if you tried sleeping on the floor, and I have in the past, it's not pleasant. So if you can actually fall asleep, you're a badass. Tom A says, reckon it's worth trading an Explorer 11427 plus 35 3.5K or roughly 3.5K for an SD 16600. Tom, I'm a little biased when it comes to this. I like sea dwellers, especially in their older 40 millimeter case. So I would say yes. Hey, if you can knock that down to 3K, why not? I think for a switcheroo kind of situation, for a trade, there's no reason to wait. Even though Alan says I'd wait. I think Alan, we were talking about this in the Discord. I think you're a little too optimistic for expecting any serious drops in prices anytime soon. It's just not happening. It's not happening until at least early 2023, and even then, I don't know what you're expecting, but it's not going to be a situation where you can walk into an AD and get a discount on a desirable or on what is now a desirable Rolex sports watch. So if it's a trading situation, I think, if we're talking about an Explorer against against Sea Dweller, I would always go for a Sea Dweller. And recognizing Explorer 36 is timeless. I think it's gonna be part of the Rolex lineup for some time to come. And I think I would wait for that. I would wait for that watch in particular, right? I think there can be good opportunities in acquiring an Explorer 36 millimeter in the near future. So when it comes down to that, I love a Sea Dweller myself. I would rather move to that, but I do want to recognize that they're very different watches, right? If you want something that can straddle both the worlds of dress and sports, you can hardly go better than an Explorer. If you want something that is chunkier, heftier, more of a true blood sports watch, SD 16600 is just perfect. Stephen Monash, welcome to the channel and happy birthday. Getting older, it doesn't suck, man. It's just a fact of life. I'm sure you are in many ways a better person, a better man than you were in your 20s now that you're 60. There's a time for everything. I'm sure there are so many things that come with the territory of being a 60-year-old that are much better than being a younger person. Aussie Expat says about Elon Musk, I think he was sleeping in a bed just in a conference room. The old days on the factory floor before Gigafactory. Tom A says, if I wait and prices fall, the Explorer price will also fall. That's what I was saying. I think if you like that trade, you can always negotiate within respectful boundaries. Try to chop that down perhaps to 3K rather than 3.5. Maybe you can meet somewhere in the middle. But hey, you wouldn't be considering this unless you kind of like the Sea Dweller. So that's what I'm thinking. If you have just one watch and you want to wear it all the time and somehow you like the size and proportions of the Explorer, Sea Dweller won't replace that. But maybe you want a heftier, chunkier, more sporty watch. And at that level, Explorer can't compete with a Sea Dweller. So I think the choice is very clear, and you know what's best for you. Stephen Monash, happy belated. You must be a Taurus as well. We share the same day. LOL. Can't change it, but thanks. Hopefully a little wiser. I'm pretty sure much, much wiser, Stephen. And again, I'm glad you celebrated it in the right way. And I'm sure you enjoyed the birthday, even if not particularly the feeling of having turned that big threshold of getting to be 60. Guys, I will have another 3 minutes or so. So if you have any last minute questions, anything that you want to contribute or say before I close today's live stream, we just passed 3 hours. Hit the like button if you're on your way out. Spread the word, share the link on other platforms. That's the thing that helps me most. I want to get to 1,000 subscribers. I want to get this channel monetized. And I really appreciate your support and presence and your help in doing that. And if you want to support me until I get the channel monetized, if you want to encourage me to create the kind of exclusive and original content that I have been creating in the last few weeks, you can always consider a PayPal contribution at lordhellespontv@gmail.com, lordhellespontv@gmail.com. I also have a Cash App, which is $LHVVV, $LHVVV. Stephen Monash says, thanks, J617 and Expat. J617 gives us a thumbs up, in fact, 2 thumbs up. And Stephen Monash wishes all of us a nice week, and I join him in that. Guys, have a beautiful week ahead. I'll be with you again every night at the same time. 7:30 in Pacific time, 10:30 in Eastern time. I know it's a little late for the UK and continental Europe, but it is what it is. Bezos, good night. Thank you for being here. But next week, now that I have my new setup, I will be recording some new content for you. So stay tuned for that. And I will also be putting together some videos of my recent exclusive visits to the Jaeger-LeCoultre boutique and in Beverly Hills and the Lange boutique in Costa Mesa. If you want to expedite that, feel free to contribute to the channel. You know that it is, the links are there. The information is there in the ticker for you to do that. Beyond that, if you want to ask me any questions, if you want to request a personalized video or a dedicated live stream, you know how to reach me. It's lordhellespontv@gmail.com, lordhellespontv@gmail.com, same as my PayPal address. Feel free to write to me an email. Drop a comment in one of the videos. I respond to everything. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Until tomorrow, I bid you adieu. Until next time, guys. Take care.